performance in the field. Our armor bundles provide unmatched safety and comfort, while our battle belts and holsters ensure quick and easy access to your gear. Stay prepared for any situation with our high-quality medical supplies, designed to keep you ready for action at all times. Looking to enhance your skills? Our firearms training programs will take your proficiency to the next level. Trust LT Defense for all your tactical gear needs and gear up for success on the battlefield.
This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Military, I'm a certified financial social worker. I was in the Air Force for 14 years, and then I paid off $20,000 of debt while I was active duty within 3 years as an E3. So that's kind of like I got really into personal finance, and so I've been really passionate about that ever since. And that was 10, 12 years ago now. So since then, I became a social worker, and now I'm a certified financial social worker. So we kind of get into, dealing with finances, but then also kind of dealing with the psychology behind finances, like the mental side of things. So,
ladies and gentlemen, your battle buddy when it comes to finances, please welcome the fire social worker, Joey Laswell.
all right. Hey, everybody. That's a new intro. Thanks to the one and only H-Train, Joel, helped me put that together. And so thank you, Joel. So this is Money in the Military. My name is Joey, and I am a certified financial social worker. You might know me as a fire social worker, but I'm just here to talk about some, just talk about finances, and, just excited to be here. And I do, so unfortunately, I do, my guest, Chris Benson, he is a Army veteran that I've been talking to. He actually had to postpone our meeting or our interview, but I do want to still talk about his story a little bit, and then we're going to have him on at another time. But this is part of live broadcasting. Sometimes things don't go exactly the way they plan. But we're here. We're gonna have fun. Might have to ask H to kind of jump in every once in a while, and we're gonna talk about basically just talk about entrepreneurship, and that's kind of the theme that we were going to talk about with Chris. And I just wanted to basically talk about the ins and outs, the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. I'm kind of like mid-journey, or starting this journey as an entrepreneur, as a veteran. And, we'll talk a little bit about maybe some of the mistakes I've made already, or, like some lessons learned. And, hopefully I can prevent a future veteran from making some of the mistakes I've made, but then also, maybe some successes that have come up. So just, bear with us. Thank you, Terry. She says, I got this. Oh, thank you. This is this whole podcasting thing has been a really awesome experience. I've met so many cool people, and once again, shout out to Military Broadcast Radio. They're just an amazing group, And we're here to help elevate veterans and military members. And part of my mission that I've stumbled upon lately is to try to elevate veterans who are really doing really cool things in the entrepreneurial space, and just give people something to cling to, and some kind of some kind of advice, counsel, guidance to jump onto. So, real quick, we're going to talk a little bit about maybe some current events, financial current events. We got some stock market performance. So, at last episode, we talked about the Fed rate cut, the 50 basis points, and how that might impact things. And as we saw with the stock market, basically there were gains driven by the economic data, strong corporate earnings. The Dow Jones increased by 0.62%, S&P rose by 0.4%, including the Federal Reserve. They are expected to implement more moderate rate. Well, they did implement the moderate rate cuts. So yeah, I mean, we'll kind of see. It seems like the markets liked the idea of the market or the Fed Reserve cuts. So far, that it seems like nothing. The sky isn't falling, and the markets are kind of stabilizing with that news and kind of processing it. But yeah. So we'll also let's see what else we got. Oh, I missed. Yeah. So we got inflation is coming down still in most major economies, but there are concerns about public debt and some, obviously geopolitical stuff going on. The central banks, including the Federal Reserve. So we got more moderate rate cuts, and let's see what else. Yeah, so we also got Costco's financial results, so we'll talk a little bit about that. So they released their fourth quarter and fiscal year 2024 earnings, reporting net sales of $78.2 billion, a slight increase from last year, and then a 1% rise in overall revenue, with membership fees contributing significantly to the steady performance. So, things are going generally good. It seems like for at least for the big companies, maybe not for the little guy as much. But and then the last topic of the kind of like news cycle stuff, oil prices and commodities. So oil prices remain steady despite concerns over decreased demand from China. So there's a lot of push for EVs in China lately. And then U.S. stockpile reductions helped balance the market. And then copper is in demand due to its essential role in renewable energy products. So yeah, those are kind of like the top line kind of financial industry stuff. Yeah, so if anyone has any additional comments to that, just let me know. Yeah, and so basically back to I did want to talk a little bit about the Military Influencer Conference that's coming up in Atlanta, Georgia. Hopefully, we're not going to be rained out, but I mean, with the weather hitting soon, hopefully by Monday, things will be cleared out. So hopefully everyone is going to be safe during this storm. It's going to be pretty intense. Tallahassee looks like they're going to get hit pretty hard. So hopefully, if you're in the path, stay safe, stay dry as much as possible. Yeah, so the Military Influencer Conference is going to be in Atlanta from September 29th to the 3rd. It's just like 3 or 4 days, but it's just going to be chock full of really great speakers, sessions. I'm looking at it, as a budding entrepreneur, but then also as an advocate for veterans' mental health, and obviously learning about the financial industry. Learning more because there's going to be tons of people from all different walks of life, all different careers and professions, and we're so Terry's going to be there from Tracer Rounds. We're going to have Amber from Into the Weeds, and I believe John from military retirement podcast. I believe he was going to show up too. So we're going to have a little bit of an MBR meeting, a very first time, at least for some of us, to ever meet in person. So we've been on each other's shows and been part of the MBR family, and I'm just really excited to meet them in person. And we might try to do maybe an offline podcast. It might be really impossible to do a live stream because there's going to be so many people in this venue, and who knows what the internet's going to look like. But stay tuned. We'll see what we can try to pull together. So I think John Stewart is actually going to be speaking at some point during this event, if I remember correctly. And just so many different opportunities. And I'm also hoping to connect with other podcasters to help spread the word about MBR, and maybe even encourage some of them to join us and join the MBR family, because we're still growing, and we got new shows launching pretty much regularly. We got do we have a couple coming online pretty soon? Do you remember? But yeah, I know we got at least one or two coming down the line. So yeah, this is another part of my entrepreneurial journey, that I'm trying to learn about businesses and starting businesses and growing businesses. So I'm hoping to kind of learn from a lot of these sessions, these breakouts, these speakers. It's gonna be really fun. I'm generally an introvert, even though I have a podcast. That's kind of contradictory, but I'm usually a quiet person. But I mean, I'm getting a lot of good, there's an app that you can download and talk to people and network with with other attendees. So it's just a really cool event that I'm really excited about. And yeah, according to Terry, we had a new launch today. Awesome. So we've got MBR is just chock full of great content. There's new content coming almost on the weekly, at least multiple times a month. It seems like there's a new show launching, and these are all veterans that are just like me and Terry and H. We've all had our struggles, we've all had our journeys, and we're kind of trying to share what we've learned along the way, and then also lift up veterans. So I mean, it's just a really great organization. I can't speak enough about it. I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but it's just been a really enriching experience, a great group of people, and just like-minded veterans that are just trying to help each other. And we all have our own niche, our specialties. Mine might be personal finance, but I'm still learning about personal finance and learning about how to help people with their finances. So I'm a work in progress. I don't know much about business, and I'm still learning all that stuff too. So yeah, we're all learners. None of us are experts at podcasting. We're literally growing and learning on air. So yeah, we appreciate all the listeners, all the supporters, whether it's financial or just giving us a like or a thumbs up, man. We just love you guys. We love the MBR family and all the fans and supporters. So we got Jose Flores, right on, Joey, learning also. Yeah, another new podcaster. Just great stuff going all around. We've got a lot of different topics to talk about, or all of us collectively have different topics that we like to talk about. But if you're interested on being featured on MBR, then find one of us, or go to the MBR website, mbradio.us, and reach out to us if you have a cool story to tell, or if you just have something that you're passionate about as a veteran. Let us know. We're definitely down to to entice and encourage all kinds of veterans from all walks of life to share their story. We're just giving you a voice. So yeah, that's kind of my long-winded way of saying thank you to MBR and thank you to Joel and everybody that's kind of helped guide all of us to where we are and where we're going to go, and who knows where this is going to take us. But I mean, I never thought I would be going to a conference, a military influencer conference, but it's really cool and exciting. So with that being said, we're going to take a little bit of a break and have some musical interlude. So let's see, I really, I do love me some Noah Peterson, but I've also recently discovered, what was it? Andrew Robero. Yeah. So been really feeling this song lately. So I'm going to start off with
Hey, Joey, I was going to say, when we come back off of this music break, the one question that I have from you, from a listener, is there's a lot of talk between this tax, tariffs stuff that they keep on throwing this like political agenda thing. Can you break it down and explain to us what this 200% tax is that he's warning John Deere about? Mexico.
Okay. Yeah, we can talk about that for sure. All right. So we'll do a quick musical break, and then when we're back, we'll talk about some tariffs.
Since I'd seen his face, not much had changed, just a different time, different place. When I shook his hand, I knew something had changed. This was a different man from the one I knew back then. When he said, "Where do they go?" Yes, I stand in line and watch the flag wave and bright. You see, this is what I do. Yes, I bleed red, white, and blue. He told me the tales of his journeys far away, 3 times gone, and land most only see on the front page. With honor and glory, he stood so tall and fought for you and I, so we could be free from it all. When he said, "Where do they go?" Yes, I stand in line and watch the flag wave bright. You see, this is what I do. Yes, I bleed red, white, and blue. Where do they go? Yes, I stand in line and watch the flag wave bright. You see, this is what I do. Yes, I bleed. This is what I do. Yes, I bleed. Oh, this is what I do. Yes, I bleed. Red, white, and blue.
Opinions expressed.
Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at nbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at nbradio.us.
All right, we are back. We are live. This is Money in the Military on Military Broadcast Radio, giving veterans a voice. So before the break, we were talking. Joel actually had a question from a listener and wanted to kind of have a breakdown of tariffs. So I actually had to kind of, and during the break, I wanted to refresh and kind of, because it is a buzzword, a talking, a political talking point, and I think it's one of those things that a lot of people hear, think about, but maybe don't fully grasp. And so I actually used a little bit of ChatGPT to kind of like break it down for me, help me explain it in a way, and then also, just for me to brush up on what it is that the more nuanced definition, what are the implications, and how would it be implemented, or how is it being implemented now? So basically, it's essentially, a tariff is essentially a tax that the government places on goods and services that are imported from other countries. So it's kind of like a fee that foreign companies will pay to basically have their products into our country. So that's kind of like the very basic definition of it. And the idea behind tariffs, as far as a tool, is it basically makes imported goods like more expensive, and it encourages more companies to produce local goods, so American-made products. So that's kind of like, other countries might be disincentivized to import to America because they're like, oh, it costs more money for us. So it'll essentially encourage local owned business and local manufacturing, and protect American jobs. So that's kind of like the the big pro. And it also brings in money for the government, which we can use that money to fund public services, infrastructure, education, national defense, things like that. So I mean, there's a lot of good that comes from tariffs. So there's like an example of like a Chinese company might make a bicycle and want to send them in, sell them in the U.S. So without a tariff, they would sell the bike for like $200. But if the government has a 25% tariff, let's say, on imported bicycles, and the company now has to pay an extra $50 per bike to bring that into America. So they're going to lose money. China's going to lose money, but we're going to make money off of that tariff. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody in that sense. Well, it's not a win for China because now they're going to lose profits. But it's a win for America because they're bringing in extra money from a product that we're going to sell in America. So that's kind of an example. And then as a result, consumers might be like, well, it makes more sense to buy an American-made product because in theory it will be cheaper, because we don't have to import it and there's not an extra fee or anything like that to associate with it. So some people say it's gonna raise the price of goods. I mean, it might raise the price of goods for small business owners. That is a possibility because of the tariffs. Like it'll cause some prices to go up, so there is that risk. But the idea is it's going to encourage American-made products and people to buy American. So that's kind of like a general, kind of an illustration. So the positives, there's, it might help reduce competition. So if you're a new business in America, and you're basic, because I mean, look, let's think about like Temu and these really cheap Chinese products that are coming in. A small business that's starting out might not be able to compete with those pricing. So, like it does affect, those new businesses. So by encouraging, people to buy American, buy local, then that's good for the local economies all around. So yeah, so there's a lot of there's a lot of pros and cons. I mean, obviously the global economy, and then you have like, American economies. It's there. I don't know if there's a right or wrong necessarily. I mean, there are going to be implications and things that we don't foresee. Like if they do raise tariffs, then people are going to say, yeah, like um, it's gonna raise the price of some goods. It just kind of is, or it is possible that it's going to raise the price of goods, because let's say a Chinese company brings in a product, and they know they're going to get tariffs, so then now they're going to raise their prices. So now what would have been that $200 bicycle, now they raise the price to 225 or 250 to recoup the costs of the tariff. So yeah, it could cause prices to go up in general. It could also affect small businesses because they're reliant on some of these imported products. So yeah, I mean, it's a tricky balance, but it is one of those things. It's politics. There's all kinds of ins and outs. Yeah, some of the other possible negatives. So yeah, so it says that tariffs can lead to higher price for consumers, not just on imported goods, but also on domestic products if the local companies have to raise their prices due to reduced competition. So if there's less competition, then they could potentially have to raise their prices. It could provoke a trade war, where basically they might retaliate the country and say, okay, well, we're going to put tariffs on your products, and then that's going to take money away from us. So, there's a potential for things like that. And then domestic industries might become less innovative without the pressure of foreign competition to improve. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, like competition is good for companies and capitalism and things like that, but yeah, like between the different candidates, you've got two very different ways of of how to generate money into the economy. But like tariffs work for a lot of things, and so it's not like it's tariffs equals bad. But then like for instance, for the veteran community, like if a lot of veterans are trying to start businesses, or actually running businesses. So this could affect their bottom line. And then as a kind of a personal, well, I don't really have any products that I'm selling per se, like an actual physical product, but like if I was had a storefront and I was selling XYZ product, if suddenly a new tariff came into place, and then that directly affected my bottom line, because now the same products that I was getting at, let's say $50, now cost me 75 or 100. So yeah, I mean, there are real world impacts for these tariffs, and some good, some bad. And so it's just it's kind of I'm not that's kind of like the global economics, and that there's so many factors at play there that it's really hard to predict what's actually going to work. And like that's kind of the tricky balance of just managing that level of finances. But yeah, so it's one of those things where it's a political talking point. A lot of people maybe understand it, and even if you do understand it, it's kind of like, well, what's actually going to happen, when the rubber meets the road. So that that kind of remains to be seen. But it is one of those talking points, and it is something that as citizens we do need to be mindful of and be aware of, that okay, what does a tariff of 200% for John Deere tractors, how does that affect a farmer? Is that going to basically make their products more expensive? In theory, yeah. I mean, I would say it probably would, but I mean, is that going to bring in more money into the economy? Yes, it would. So I mean, yeah, it's really a tough threading that needle. I mean, That's why I'm not in politics, because I wouldn't know necessarily. I mean, I would have to look at like a lot of different data sets to really try to make sense of like, okay, what is the right percentage of tariffs? Like what, how much on which type of product, and yeah. So, so there's a couple historical examples that I came across. In 2018, the U.S. imposed tariffs on imported steel and aluminum to protect the domestic producers. This move was intended to bolster national security by ensuring strong domestic metal industry, but also led to increased costs for American manufacturers using these materials. So, yeah, that was 2018. I vaguely remember that. I remember hearing that, yeah, local industries were kind of affected by it. It did cost, it did eventually trickle down to American consumers. But did it bolster national security by ensuring strong domestic metal industry? I guess so. But yeah. So let's see. Yeah, we can play a quick clip and see what this Iowa economist weighs in on Trump's proposed 200% tariff on John Deere products. Let's see. Well, is it working? Let me see. Is it playing? I don't know. I can't hear anything, Joel. I don't know if it's working or not. But yeah, there's a video on screen that Joel popped up his screen or video that we can try to play. But yeah, like, what are you guys' thoughts on tariffs? And what is it? Does it mean anything to you? I don't know. Like, it's one of those things that's it doesn't affect people until it does.
Ever since I was young, my dream has been to open a chocolate shop, to make unique, colorful, world-class chocolate.
Add to play. Okay. Well,
easier, so I can focus on.
Oh, there we go.
Important.
Got to go through this ad. Sorry.
To really good people. I'm Alexandra Clark, founder and head chocolatier of Bon Bon Bon.
Donald Trump is threatening Deere & Company with stiff tariffs if it goes through with moving some manufacturing jobs to Mexico.
Now, if he's reelected, Trump says he'll impose a 200% tariff on John Deere products if the company shifts production work to its planned Ramos, Mexico plant. KCRG TV9 State Capitol reporter Connor Hendricks looks at the impact that proposed tariff could have.
I'm just notifying John Deere right now. If you do that.
Looks like it's frozen up a little bit. So we'll try to get that video to play. It's probably buffering or something.
There we go. Sorry about that. I was on mute. Can you hear it or can you not?
I can hear it, yeah, but it just kind of froze for a second.
200% tariff on everything that you want to sell into the United States.
John Deere has made several moves as farm income has fallen for the past 2 years.
Happening today, more than 300 John Deere workers in Waterloo are now without a job.
Hundreds of employees at John Deere may have clocked out for the last time.
34 production workers will be placed on indefinite layoff effective May 31st.
The company has laid off more than 1,600 employees. It has also started shifting some of its production to Mexico.
It's hurting our farmers. It's hurting our manufacturing.
Trump wants his threat of higher tariffs to force companies like John Deere to keep production in the U.S. Iowa State University economics professor Peter Erasmus says higher tariffs won't likely do what Trump wants.
Making parts more expensive for John Deere is not going to help John Deere either, and it probably would not help jobs in the United States. So I think some of this isn't perfectly well thought out.
Erasmus says it increases the cost of the parts brought into the U.S. and increases the cost of the finished product.
So the consumer loses and the company loses.
I asked Iowa's members of Congress and their Democratic challengers about Trump's proposals and what it would do to producers. Representatives Miller Meeks and Henson sent a statement. They didn't answer directly, but both blamed President Biden for rising costs. Erasm says that a president can't just decide to impose a tariff because we have trade agreements with Canada and Mexico. If Trump were to do this, it would require an act of Congress. That said, he doesn't foresee a 200% tariff on John Deere products becoming a reality anytime soon. At the Iowa Capitol Bureau, I'm Connor Hendricks reporting.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Like that's it's one of those things where the intention is to keep the companies from, that's the domestic side. Like they want to keep things in the domestic side of production. Which is great, because it's gonna lose jobs, or they're gonna lose jobs to Mexico or Canada. But yeah, I mean the practical reality, like they said in the video, was that it will raise prices for the company, and eventually the consumer might feel the impacts of that, because if the company is having to raise prices or is being charged more, then in theory they're going to have to put that pricing down to the customer. So so I mean that's once again it's a tricky balance to try to figure out how to manage global, you have global trade agreements, things like that. So I mean it's really tough to kind of manage all that, but yeah, what do you guys think? It's it's an interesting topic of discussion. How does that impact local businesses? If you're a veteran entrepreneur and you have like a storefront, how would that impact you with higher tariffs? Would you support it? So yeah. So comment if you're a business owner, and that what are your thoughts on more tariffs to bring in more money to the local economies? So while we digest that, we're going to take another quick break, and actually I wanted to highlight one of that Chris Benson, his project a little bit, and just talk about what he's been working on, and then we're going to have him back hopefully soon, or have him on the show, and he's got a really cool story to tell, so I'm really excited to have him on eventually. But in the meantime, we're gonna have a little Noah Peterson and his funky jazz.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
us on the web at mbradio.us.
All right, we are back. My name is Joey, the fire social worker, and we're here with Money in the Military on Military Broadcast Radio, where we're giving veterans a voice. So before the break, we were talking about tariffs and kind of breaking that down a little bit, and so kind of wanted to transition. And we're going to have Chris Benson on the show. We had a kind of a scheduling conflict happen, and so we're going to have him on the show. But I did want to highlight one of the things that he's introduced me to, a project that he's kind of been a big part of, and that's these veteran cards. And if you're on like the veteran business Facebook pages and things like that, you might have come across these or seen the advertisements. They're really kind of starting to roll out more and more. But it's essentially kind of like a digital business card / website / kind of like a landing page for your business, and specifically geared towards veterans. I mean, they have them for civilians as well, but the veteran cards is kind of like a network that they're kind of building and promoting for veterans to help support veterans, either through networking with other business owners, be like, hey, part of my veteran network is XYZ, like appliance repair person, or so basically these veterans are creating business pages and are able to connect with other people. So I'm just going to quickly show what his looks like. And I'm sure he'll be fine with me showing this. So we have he's part of a company that is Troops Hold Junk is the name of his company. It's actually a franchise that he's a part of. So this is what it looks like. And, it's a fully functional website. And it basically has what you're trying to do or what you can do. And I really like this part. So you pull it up on your phone, on your mobile browser. You click on the QR code, and then basically somebody can take out their phone, scan it, and then basically it'll pull up their veteran card page. So they don't even have to type anything in, and then they have access to your veteran card page, and then you can have it basically quick linked to your Facebooks, your Twitter, LinkedIn's, all these different social. Because let's be honest, most businesses have to manage like 5 or 6 different accounts. So this kind of keeps it all in one nice place. And then there's also all the hyperlinks down here. You can add, it's a quick function to basically you pull out your phone and then you add to contacts, and then basically it comes out with like the full contact information with your picture, everything. It's really snazzy, really cool. You can link to your website, and all these are customizable. You can basically every little thing is hyperlinked. So if you want to set it up to where you can do a consultation, you can do that. So kind of you can have text and kind of talk about your business, a little bit of your backstory. You can put videos in there, like he's got a video about his journey, it's just a really clean, cool website design, instead of having to carry around a bunch of business cards, you can use this as your business card, because everyone has a smartphone nowadays, and it's really kind of cool and helpful to just pull out your phone, have somebody scan, pull out their camera app, scan it, and then suddenly now they have access to all your business information, how to book you, how to contact you, everything. It's just boom, instant. So I think it's really cool. It could be a game changer. And there's other services that are out there that are kind of similar. Linktree it's kind of like Linktree, but obviously it has much more functionality. But it's also built for veterans, to connect with other veterans. And it's a really cool platform. And it's just really, really cool. And I'll go ahead and just highlight that I have one too. In preparation for the conference, I went ahead and signed up with them, and I just wanted to try it out. And this is what they built. It's just really cool. I mean, it's just something that I'm like nerding out about, but it's just really cool. Like it has, basically you make it however you want. I work with them. You can put in like a ticket, and they can kind of tweak things for you on their end. So very professional, very, very cool team to work with. And I mean, you can just have all kinds of things on there. And this is obviously shameless self-promotion for me, because I do offer financial coaching if you're interested. But yeah, that's not the intent of this podcast. So I just wanted to highlight what a cool product this is, and a really, really great team of people. And so if you're interested in getting something like that set up, just type out veteran cards, and you should be able to find how to set that up. So it's really, really cool. Tracer Rounds podcast says that's cool. Yeah, it's a cool thing. It's just one of those things that you never thought would be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's interesting. As far as being an entrepreneur, business owner, as I'm getting in learning about businesses and being a business owner myself, I'm realizing that networking is huge, and it's not something that comes naturally to me, but I also realize that there's a lot of value in networking. So this is just one of many tools that you can use, and just something cool. It's like I said, the team is really cool to work with. So yeah, we're gonna have Chris on in the near future, and kind of pick his brain. Like I said, he's got a cool story to tell, and his journey from Army to kind of struggling, and then finding his niche, his passion. And once again, that really lights me up hearing these really inspirational stories from veterans, because there's no roadmap for transitioning out of the military. Like they try to give you some guides to help you along the way, and like transition programs are great and all. I'm not gonna talk bad about them, but there's just only so much they can cover. And so by telling some of these veterans stories, I'm hoping that if you're an active duty military member right now and you're listening to this, you might be able to learn from another veteran's journey. So I think I've mentioned it before. Like, I feel like I'm a time traveler. I'm in the future, and I'm trying to distill and instill in people that are active duty to say, hey, look over here. Like, this is something that you either should do or shouldn't do. One thing I would say should do is, if entrepreneurship is something that you're interested in, Boots to Business. I learned about that kind of after the fact, and I'm still working through the Boots to Business program. There's VBOX, which are local veteran business. I forget the acronym, but there's so many acronyms. But yeah, so there are tons and tons of resources out there, and I think that's part of the problem too, is that it's so hard to navigate so many resources, and a lot of veterans get overwhelmed, and they take the first thing that comes to them. And I get it. My first job out of the Air Force was a life insurance salesman, and that wasn't a good fit for me. I'm generally not like the salesman-y type, and I went into that actually thinking that I was going to become a certified financial planner, because they had like this kind of trajectory where you start off as a life insurance agent and then you can transition to the CFP program. So that was kind of how I envisioned it. But when it came down to it, it just wasn't a good fit. And I would say to other active duty members, you're going to have not good fit jobs, and that's just the reality. So don't get so fixated on having to find that unicorn job that is like the perfect job for you. So yeah, just like it's a journey. It's a process, and it's not always easy, clean, and fun. And sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches. And every one of from what I've seen on all the different MBR podcasters, we've all been on a journey. And I feel like every veteran, every active duty member that transitions is going to be on a similar journey. Some people make it look easy, and some people have everything figured out. But don't use them as the blueprint, because just because they might have gotten that dream job right out the military, you don't know what all they did to get to that point, So, I mean, maybe they worked their butt off and they were hustling from day one of the military, and that was their trajectory, their plan, So good on them. And that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, your journey is your journey. And, I would encourage you not to compare yourself to your peers. Yeah, Terry makes up a good point. Every experience prepares you for your next step. We fall forward. And that's a great, it's a great idea, because sometimes you do feel like you're falling, and we're all falling, but you catch yourself with that next step. You catch your footing, and you're moving forward. It might be an awkward step, it might not be the most efficient step, but you're moving forward. So if you do mess up, you do make a mistake, or you take a job that isn't a good fit, then you just regroup, man. Like we're all military or former military. We've all had to adapt and overcome. So if you're struggling in that transitional period, you're about to get out, and maybe you're really just in your head, and you don't know what's your next step's going to be, that's okay. Like that is perfectly okay. And even in some cases, years out, like I'm 4 years out, and there's still days where I'm like, am I doing this right? Am I on the right path? So, I mean, even when you think you've got things figured out, it's okay to pivot. It's okay to regroup, and look at the terrain, and reevaluate. And, all our military training is helping to prepare us for these kinds of things. But I will say, you're not in the military anymore. So that is a challenge, because sometimes we have the military brain and it does not compute with civilian world, So that is definitely part of the transition too, is you're going to have to unwire and rewire your thinking sometimes. So that's just part of the transition process too. The military trains us really well, and we get really good at our job in the military, but they don't always train us on how to succeed in the civilian world, and that's okay. And it's not necessarily their responsibility or their job. Like their job is to train us to be military professionals. So yeah, so I mean, that's just a long-winded way of saying, if you're a veteran, you're struggling, find a mentor, reach out to, I'll volunteer my services. I mean, I like I said, I'm still figuring a lot of this stuff out myself, but we're all works in progress. So, I'm willing to be a mentor and help out a veteran, even if it's a finance question, that's fine, or it's not finance, that's fine too. I'm just here to serve and be an advocate for the veteran community in any way that I can. And, once again, going back to the military conference, there's some really inspiring people doing some really inspiring stuff. So I'm really hoping to to kind of learn from those people and really kind of pull back, the curtain and see, okay, how do I do what you're doing? Like, how do I get to your level, and yeah, I'm just really excited about that. And also I'm hoping to network with and learn from other finance professionals, because there's a lot that I still have to learn about the financial world, and I'm still learning, and I'm always going to be learning. So I'm really excited about those opportunities. But that's kind of kind of a meandering show today. I apologize. Like I said, my guest, we kind of had to we adapt and overcome, and so we're making it work, and do less with more, or do more with less, right? That's what we're taught in the military. So so if you guys have any, we're going to try to do at least some kind of broadcast, or maybe we might not be able to do a live show, but we're going to try to do something, and we're going to have fun. I think there's a couple runs that we're going to do. Also, just a quick shout out for Irreverent Warriors. So if I did on one of my previous episodes, I talked about them. They're a nonprofit that does what's called these Silkies hikes. So you basically go out and you get you some Silkies, some short shorts, some running shorts, and you go walking through the city, the downtown area usually, and just blow off some steam, have a good time. And there's actually one in Memphis this weekend, and I'm actually going to be attending. So if you hear about Irreverent Warriors, they're a great group of people. They're essentially trying to combat veteran suicides by providing fellowship and camaraderie and that sense of togetherness that we miss from being in the military. And most people, when they're isolated, that's when they're at their lowest or their worst. So we're trying to, this organization is trying to bring people physically together, because digital is one thing, but bringing people together in person to commiserate, vent, share successes, network, and get jobs even. So Irreverent Warriors, check them out. If you're going to be in the Memphis area, I think you can still buy a ticket. I'm not sure at this point, but it's going to be Saturday. Looking forward to that. I might post some pictures, some videos. We'll see. Look out for those types of veteran outreach, organizations. They're popping up left and right, and that's part of what MBR. I think we're good at, like, trying to highlight some of those entities and organizations. So look up Irreverent Warriors. If you're a veteran, active duty, it is an exclusive group. They don't allow families and everything. I don't even know if they allow military spouses, to be honest. I'm not sure, but it's meant to be inclusive in that sense, where it's or exclusive to just military and active duty, or active duty and veterans. So so just looking forward to that. If you guys have any topics to discuss in the future, hit me up, Joseph at the Fire Social Worker, at firesocialworker.com. Hit me up on Facebook, all the different mediums. You know where to find me, hopefully. And if you can always just comment on the stream, and then I'll come track you down. So with that being said, that's going to end the stream. I appreciate everyone who stuck through with this, and looking forward to the conference and just meeting up with people. So thank you for everybody. We'll see you guys on the next stream.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.